We go. All systems go. I think so. Yes, we are. Right. Let's go then. Right, we'll start the stream. Oh, let me just make sure it's all good to go. I haven't checked it, to be honest. Well, hopefully everything's casting okay. Yes, we are go. Go, go, go. Hello everyone. Hello and welcome back to Sunday's Weather channel. Oh! Pull myself together. Come on, lad. Got the cup of tea. Hello, Lumars. How are you doing? People kept commenting about that. The Send It cup of tea. It's an icon now, isn't it? No, I'm only joking. Right, I'll put up the chat so I can read it as I'm going along. We're just gonna see how things go today, so we'll just wait for a few people to join in, and we'll get started. Oof, so how is everyone doing today? Hopefully everyone's all right. We're on time. I think I might have been 30 seconds late, but these things happen, don't they? Mistakes were made. Mistakes were made starting the stream. So I've got a few different things today. Actually, I've got a few different charts pulled up than normal. Just because I wanted to go through them instead. And just some new charts for me, some new charts for you. Obviously, I've seen a few of them. But we'll get straight on with things in a moment. I need to pull that off there. I'm just making sure that was going right. We've got some people in here. Hello, everyone. Oh no, the stream's current bitrate is lower than the recommended. Ooh, might be in trouble. No, I'm joking. Right, we'll get on with things then. So firstly, hope you're doing well. We're on the road to 500 subscribers already, which is crazy to me. Cheers all for watching. But yeah, right, let's go. I wanted to start with this AO, which is the Atlantic Oscillation. This is something which I don't normally show. You have something called the AO and the NAO. So you have the Atlantic Oscillation and the North Atlantic Oscillation. If you have a positive Atlantic Oscillation and North Atlantic Oscillation, that means that you are likely to see high pressure to the south, low pressure to the north, and westerlies. However, if you have high pressure to, if you have a negative anomaly on both the AO and the NAO, that can be indicative of blocking to the north, and you can see like cold northerly winds more frequently, or easterly winds, or just blocking to the north. So high pressure, for example, to the north, and low pressure to the south, winds in from the east, or high pressure. For example, this blob here could be like the UK. I mean, that is the worst drawing of the UK. But you have like high pressure to the northwest towards Greenland up here, then low pressure to the east, for example, and then the Azores highs retreated, and then you'd obviously get colder winds from the north with that. But what you were looking for is both at the same time to be negative. So as you can see at the moment, we're slightly positive. It's not a strong AO anomaly. So this is the Atlantic Oscillation. So it's not a strong. Yeah, thank you. So it's not a strong oscillation at the moment. So there is more transitional, more westerly. However, it is predicted to go a little bit below again. Weakly negative, you could say, or a little bit negative, to be honest, with this little pattern which is arriving, with this high just going slightly to our north, bringing in a slack easterly, with low pressures running to the south. But as you can see, as we run through into December, things do return to negative. I mean, weakly negative or neutral, albeit with a lot of scatter. So there's a lot of cooler runs. There's a lot of not cool. What am I on about? There's a lot of positive runs, a lot of negative runs. Not too many in between, to be honest. There's a lot of positive and negative runs. There's a lot of scatter, and we'll run through that in a little bit. But I just want to bring these charts up. The NAO is very similar It's been negative for a while. Looked very strongly negative when we had that cold spell. Well, cold snap, cold spell last week. Last week really. Monday to Friday, Monday through Friday, and that's what because of this. So you like to look at this to see what it's showing, because if it's negative, both NAO and AO, it's pretty strong signal for cold spell. So it's gone to neutral at the moment, but it is going weakly negative and staying weakly negative until the end. Although again, a lot of scatter, so that just indicates the uncertainty as we head into the first week of December. Not everything's crystal clear bread and butter, is what I'm trying to say. It's just something to keep an eye out for. We've got some of you in here now. We've got 7 of you in here. Please hit that like button. Get the stream out there. Well, we'll start then with some data. Obviously, some of you... I'll run through this very quickly because... you know, a lot of you probably seen it on Gav's stream, but in case you haven't, I know you have, Lumaz, I've seen you on Gav's stream. There's a little bit of a weak high through Wednesday into Thursday. Through the next couple of days, a bit chilly in the north. Could be a few snow showers in Scotland, but everywhere else is pretty dry. But it could be a bit chilly after this pretty mild spell. I think my temperature gauge reached about 15 degrees today, so pretty extraordinary for this time of year. It's down to 10 now. Winds in from the west, but there you go. High pressure just building out to the west on Wednesday. That's sort of the weak NAO I was on about, but it's not very strong. High pressure just to the west, low pressure just to the east, and winds in from a slack easterly. It's not a cold easterly by any means. It is just a kind of around average or slightly below average. Don't get average in this country. It's either above or below average. Again, continuing though, high pressure builds in, so cold ridge, and then high pressure ridges in, low pressure to the west, winds up from the very mild southerly. So next weekend looks quite dry and mild. Again, pests from the west with the GFS, and eventually the Atlantic breaks through, and we get lots of wet and wild weather into the second week of December. The first week looks very dry, high and dry, quite mild with this, with winds from the west or the southwest. High pressure to the north, low pressure to the south. High pressure to the south, low pressure to the north, and low pressures continue to rattle in from off the Atlantic. Right at the very end, slight signal towards high pressure to the west, low pressure to the east and northeast, and winds do eventually go into the north. However, this low pressure towards the western side of Greenland is about to knock over the ridge, and that's going to topple in, and then it's back to pest from the west once again. So it doesn't look that great from the GFS, but obviously these change daily, and anything past 240 hours is the unreliable time frame. And it's still not even that cold, really. The -5 is just getting into Scotland at that point. But it wouldn't produce anything wintry or anything like that, I wouldn't assume. Next, we'll have a look at the GEM very quickly. Again, high pressure to the west again, and bringing in a little slack easterly. Could be slightly chilly. 1 or 2 wintry showers possible in the north. Nothing too much of interest. And then high pressure actually more strengthened to our east. Winds up from the south, west, south there. Pretty mild. Again, upper level temperatures are going a few degrees above average. Look at all the colder than average anomalies to the north. But there we go. Again, winds up from the south and southwest for the whole run, and it's pest from the west. And at the very end, it looks like we're bringing some very mild air from the Atlantic. Wow, the 10-degree isotherm getting in 10 to 12 degrees above average. Wow, wouldn't you like that? It's very unsettled. Good cup of that. Credit to myself. Let me just check. Roll. Good. Get them likes up if you're enjoying the stream, guys. Just gets it out there. I don't like to ask, but I've just got to get the ball rolling. But thank you everyone for tuning in. Finally, we'll have a look at the ECM WF. Again, slack easterly through Wednesday into Thursday. Then high pressure over the top brings more of an easterly influence. So it could be a bit dry. Well, it's dry, but it could be a little bit cooler in the south. Not cold, in fact. Still above average for the most part. And yeah, just kind of brings this a bit of a no man's land. So high pressure towards Scandinavia, but very weak. And the southwesterlies are going to the north. We're kind of with high pressure just to our east and low pressure running to the south. Winds are in from a very, very, very slack easterly. Nothing too notable there. And temperatures probably around average, exactly. So that is not very interesting at all. Our GFS, GEM, ECM, isn't the ECM meant to be the worst? Isn't ECM meant to be the best one? GEM is typically the worst in my experience, yeah. And the GFS in the middle, yeah. GFS isn't too bad. It sometimes gets it right. The ECM is typically the best one. I think it has like a 90% accuracy, but I'm not sure if I believe that or not, because it sometimes gets it wrong. How about the icon? This only runs out to 8 days or 7.5 days. Very similar for the next few days. Again, there's like easterly through Wednesday into Thursday. A little bit of a slack easterly, and it's not too notable. Again, winds up from the south and southwest. So definitely next weekend and in Friday, Saturday, Sunday looks quite mild. So if you've got any plans, do them next weekend. But yeah, you can see temperatures, 2 meter temps. Frosty overnight, so it could be, frost and fog. And by day, I think this is causing an inversion, according to this anyway, which is 3 or 4 degrees. But obviously we are bringing in quite a chilly easterly on this. So even if we do get like a mild air mass aloft, it doesn't always translate to warm temperatures. So that could actually be indicative of frost and fog and quite cold days. Even look on Saturday, might be cold, but it'll be very dry. Thursday, 5, 6, 7. Friday, 5, 6, 7. Saturday, 3, 4, 5 for much of the country and towards freezing in the north. And then Sunday, 3 or 4. So actually looks quite chilly there. Yeah, typically my experience though, Lumers, I'd say that the learners, that the ECM does perform better sometimes, but the GFS does get it right on the off chance, on the odd time, odd occasion. I also have, I'll just bring these up very quickly. Should have got these up before. I've just got a glimpse of what the 2 meter anomalies are for next week, very briefly, but they're not of interest really. Let's get it up then. So we've got this. So to start with, we've got the mean civil pressure for the next 2 weeks from the ECM. These are just for fun. They change every day at 8 p.m, which is why I've done this a bit later. So, week 1 is the 25th of November to the 2nd of December, takes into December. High pressures towards Scandinavia, low pressures out to the west, and winds you'd expect from a relatively mild southerly. However, the high might be bringing in winds from the east with the block, and the southwesterlies might just be going to our west, maybe into Ireland with that one. Again, very similar. And temperature anomalies, like I just said, are going milder than average in the west of the UK. Slightly cooler, actually, into, or colder, I guess. Slightly cooler into central, northern, and even into parts of, the Midlands and the southeast are not much above average. Maybe hinting at a slack easterly. Nothing cold. And all the cold temperatures have transferred to Eastern Europe. So nothing too notable, but week 2, the 2nd to the 9th, again the same pattern kind of in, high pressure towards Scandinavia, winds could begin from a slack easterly, and low pressures are running away to our west in the Atlantic. And you'd expect the southwesterlies or southerlies to go just to our west into Iceland with that one. Again, very similar with them, with the 500 millibar heights, and temperature anomalies are slightly above average, but nothing too significant besides in Ireland. So nothing very interesting for the first 2 weeks. Oh dear, that is not looking good for my winter forecast, is it? Week 3 is the 9th to the 16th of December, and we revert to pests from the west, westerlies. High pressure to the south, or just to the south, low pressure running to the north, and winds are in from the west. But if you want mild weather, that's the one for you, but it could be a bit unsettled in the north. The high looks to be quite over the top of us, though. So, dry. Temperature anomalies above average. Not much to say. Week 4, the 16th to the 23rd of December, Christmas week, and the high pressure transfers slightly further southwards, but also up a little bit to the west. Could allow a northwesterly, but most likely a westerly, with low pressure running to the north. Most unsettled in the north. Again, slight tilt, you could say, but nothing too interesting. Temperature anomalies above average still. And what about the Christmas week? Well, no change. Wow, these are very dull charts, aren't they? High pressure just to the south, low pressure to the north. But if you want a mild December, like some of you do want, then this looks all right. It could be quite dry as well. Obviously, there could be frost overnight, but that obviously have to be pinpointed close to the time. Temperature anomalies again above average. Wow, wow, wow. And even into January, the 30th of December to the 6th of January, high pressure just out to the west, but winds still in from the west from the west typically. Wow, I mean, this would be a very dull time. Don't forget the long range CFS can't forecast snow. Yeah, I agree. What happened to my voice? What happened to my voice? Oh dear. But yeah, they don't look very great, do they? Let's be honest. Let's have a look. So this is the low pressure system. I wanted to bring this up actually. This is the low pressure system which we've had affecting us, Storm Bert, which has still got some weather warnings, but you can see how deep the low pressure was and the strong winds. We had some strong winds here in central regions, even though we're not close to the low, but that's been bringing some very strong winds from the southwest, so obviously from a mild direction. As you can see with the temperatures, quite mild. And just to the south, look at that, 14-degree isotherm into France and Paris. That's pretty above average. Not too much snow anymore on the ground, besides in the far north of Scotland where they've had the warnings. So there you go, far north and northwest of Scotland, into parts of central Scotland as well, but nothing too great anymore. But that could change, you know, these models do flip. I would show you the ensembles, which I normally do, which is like all of the runs, but I can't today because for some reason they're not loading on my end. And I keep trying to load them, but they just will not load. So now I'm going to bring up the what was I going to bring up now? I forgot. Oh yeah, the Met Office warnings. So if we scroll down here, you can see that the warnings are still in place across the UK as Storm Bert brings impacts across much of the UK, and we've got the strong southwesterly winds. And yeah, the warnings, there's not many left now, as you can see here. If we load them up, there's a yellow warning for wind, but it's going to expire at midnight tonight. Likely disruption to transport and dangerous coastal and marine conditions for the northwest, so the Isle of Skye and the Isles in the northwest. And then also these warnings in the south, in the south west, south and southeast, extending into the southwest, are expiring in about 41 minutes time. So these aren't anything to worry about either. Strong winds may cause some disruption across central and eastern parts of England during Sunday. You mean central, southern and eastern parts. There you go. Fix your warning, Met Office. But yeah, that's covering much of the south, the southeast, even up towards Hull. And then, oops, what the hell? This page is not working. Yep, I can tell that, pal. Oh, brilliant. What happened? Oh dear, the website went down. Alright, let me load up the other one then. Oof. Why is that not working? Oof. Well, we'll bring up the precipitation with the GFS then. There's that wet weather, bit of a streamer of rain overnight, Friday, clearing away by Monday morning. Out the southeast. Showers turning wintry over the hills in Scotland, but obviously slightly cooler air masses from the northwest into Scotland. Lots of heavy rain piling in, and for the southwest as well on those westerly winds. Another low pressure system approaching from the south, running on a northwest southeast trajectory, and that produces a bit of rain, a bit of a snow feature there from the GFS on Wednesday for northern England. Even extending into parts of Newcastle. Wouldn't that be quite funny? Doesn't last long though, and then we're into drier conditions for a time. In fact, quite a while as the high pressure kind of settles over the top of the country. Quite dry, and then eventually in comes the Atlantic, and this wet weather piles in. Look at all that rain. There'd definitely be warnings associated with that. Probably another named storm. 968 millibars. And then another storm bringing snow to Scotland, transient, and then back to wet and windy for eventually the winds do at the end turn into the north, but again it's dry and then very, yeah. What are the chances you could get snow under an inversion? probably about 2%. I actually have never seen that happen. Under an inversion, obviously, you've got high pressure over the top of the country. Hello, future vibes. Under an inversion, though, there's not that much of a chance unless you've got like a slack easterly into the southeast or something. I've not known it happen in my lifetime. But obviously, if you've got high over the top of the country, it's very difficult. And also inversion, you still need the upper level air to be about between 0 and -5. Dew points have to be below freezing. There you go. I'm doing well, thanks, though, future lives. How are you? Oh, right, is wetter gonna work now? Better do. Come on. Oh my god. Why is the website not working? Ugh. Now I'm gonna have to find it then. Let me do that. Where's my thing gone? Bookmarks. I'm bloody website. I can show you these. Let me just change the date. So we are on the 24th of the 11th. 1 minute. And then we want the 12Z runs. So this is the ECM data for the 12Z suite. What are the models saying? I don't think you want to know the future about the next week. Looks a little bit chilly, but quite dry. Apart from the south and the southeast, with a low pressure system running from the north, from the south west to the northeast. I think I might have got the wrong way around earlier. My bad. My apologies. I meant to be the weatherman, not getting it wrong. Yeah, apart from that, looks quite dry and also quite mild as well, with winds in from the west or the southwest for much of the period. Let me bring these up then. This is the ECM data for the latest model runs from the 12Z suite. They haven't come out on Wetter yet, so this is for day 10 for the 4th of December. High pressure just out to the west. I'm going to change the colour on that because that is dreadful. If I can do that. Where's my toolbar gone? Oh my word, there it is. Right, let me change that to, I don't know, a blue. I probably want a dark blue, don't I? There we go. Right. So we've got high pressure, with 14 of them. High pressure just to the west, but lots of high. Winds could be in from a slack easterly or northeasterly with that. Nothing too major. That could produce an inversion. Well, actually, could it? No, because the high's just out to the west, so probably not. But it could still be chilly with a bit of frost and fog. 13 members out of the 52 have high pressure just to the north, low pressure running to the south, and winds are in from, could be a cold easterly or northeasterly with that one. 12 with a definite possibility of an inversion for the north. High pressure to just to the west and over the top of the country. Winds again could be in from a slack easterly or northeasterly with that one. We've got a very messy chart with these 8 with high pressure just to our west and southwest, high pressure up towards Scandinavia. That could be trying to bring in winds from the east, and that one could be trying to bring in winds from the Atlantic. So a bit of a messy chart, but most likely colder in the north and milder in the south. And then we've got 4 with what you want, 7% of them though. A mid-Atlantic ridge up towards Greenland, just over the top, low pressure towards Scandinavia, and winds are in from a cold northerly. Would be very dry with that though. The high would have to move further westwards to see the potential cold with that one. An inversion, it's very difficult to explain future because the conditions have to be perfect, but it's where you have the high pressure, or like the high, which usually brings the milder air, sat right over the top of the country. So the main part of the high has to be right over the top of the country, and there you go. Well, look, it has to be right over the top of the country, and it has to be warm upper level air, but you have to have like cold surface temperatures, and that is what's called an inversion, where the temperatures on the surface are low, but the upper level air is mild, but the high has to be sat in a very specific position, and all the stars have to align for it to happen most of the time. The one of the models today, which one was it? The icon was showing that an inversion for many parts of the country, as there was a high sat right over the top of the country. So on this, for example, these 12 could produce an inversion for the north, as the high sat right over the top of the country, but it's very rare for it to happen. But it can do sometimes. But hopefully that explains it a little bit, but it is very difficult to forecast inversions, apart from a few days away. Gotta get me drink. Yeah, so we've got in and 360 hours on the 9th of December. These are the options. So we've got 16 here, so 30%. We're including the control run and the operational run. High pressure just towards Iceland and just to the north with winds in from an easterly. Could be a little bit chilly. It looks like a little low pressure system. Very weak low pressure to the south. That could actually be bringing a snow event to the south, possibly, but that's not going to happen, is it? Then we've got 15 here with high pressure up towards Greenland and in the Atlantic just to our west. Low pressure to the north east towards Scandinavia, and winds could be in from a slack northwesterly, so a bit chilly. 12 with high pressure just to the west and over the top of the country. That looks quite dry. Wouldn't be particularly cold, but it would feel quite seasonal, I'd expect, with overnight frost and fog. And then we've got 8 with a proper what you want if you want cold weather. It's only 8 though, so a minority option. High pressure out to the west, low pressure towards Scandinavia, and winds in from a very cold northeasterly wind. That's what you want if you want a cold spell to start December. And that's what I was actually going to forecast. But now there's lots of different options. I'm a bit stuck. A few years ago, I'm just going to read some of your comments. Anticyclonic gloom, it looks quite likely. A few years ago, it was a mild day. And don't remember there being any sort of cold spell before we saw after. I was forecasted 6 degrees rain, then I looked out of the window and saw a dusting of snow. Can happen. You can't always trust what they forecast, or what I forecast anyway, because it can change at very short notice. Glitter, hello, thanks for joining the stream. I put my washing out today dry, but riding my bike was another story. Ooh, it's been a bit wet here this morning, but then this afternoon's not been that bad. Met Office doesn't update on the daily. I use Weather Channel actually for my weather, but that one also isn't very accurate all the time. Really heavy as well, never seen anything like it. I remember a day where I looked out my window and there was an absolute snowstorm going on. And it was funny, not for them of course, but it was funny watching out my window, people struggling in the snow, because you don't see it that often, do you? And it's like a once in a year's or so's opportunity for cold and snow in this country nowadays. We're not in 2009, 2010. Got Beast from the East, and in 2018 got the December to Remember 2010. Really mild that day as well. Yeah, we just had wind today, no snow. Yeah, it's been quite windy. Yeah, it was quite windy last night as well. Especially I saw in the south it was quite windy as well, but I don't live in the south, so I guess it's bad to be there. I'm only joking. But yeah, again, high pressure. So with most of these options at day 10 and day 14, they look sort of interesting. I mean, a lot of them have high pressure over or just to the west of the country, so it's either cold or relatively cold in particular. You can actually see at the bottom, EC or the Icelandic Met Office have been very helpful in showing the cold stuff. So what pattern you need for cold weather. So a negative NEO, like I said before, has high pressure towards Greenland or Scandinavia and low pressure running to the south, which allows winds to come in from the east or northeast. That is the best. Pattern you'd like to see. And then obviously there's the Scandinavian one, which I don't know what. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. But high pressure towards Scandinavia and winds in from the northeast, or the east, sorry. Beast from the East 2018 is a prime example of that, and that's a mid-Atlantic ridge there, and that's a positive NEO, which is low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south, and winds in from the west. And if you have that stupid Azores high built towards Spain, that's trying to bring up winds from the south or southwest all the time, and that is a problem. Hello Hazel, how are you doing? Well, I know that you like the mild weather, so you'll have liked the update I've just done because all of the charts are quite mild. But obviously it's open to change. There's a lot of scatter. I can't even show you the ensembles because they're not working on the website. So yeah. So odd though. It was mild, then I look out the window and I see something I've never seen. Yeah, can happen. Yes. Welcome to the stream. So windy, especially near the open. I'm not bloody surprised it was windy near the open fields. And of course, cheers to everyone new that's watching. Why is the chart over there? There we go. That's much better. What does the BBC use for weather now? I think they just use like a combination of like tons of different sites. So they use like the Meteo brand of forecasts to make theirs, and theirs are very changeable. One day you can look and it'll say like 15 degrees and rain, and then the next day you can look and it'll say like 5 degrees and snow. So I don't use them personally. Not saying they're bad, but in my experience they haven't been that great. Used to be Met Office. Yes, it did. I don't think it is anymore though. I do as well, learners. It's not great for me anyway, but some other people it might be great in some regions, but not the UK when it's so changeable all the time. Hazel, I knew you liked the the mild. I don't mind the mild, but I do like to see the odd cold spell. Obviously, it's not great these days, is it, to see prolonged cold and snow? But I think it's a nice spectacle from time to time, and it is very welcomed for me anyway. When it's quite rare to come by, especially like that this last week with the cold spell. I was not expecting it to come off when I was forecasting it before. But yeah, it's actually the Meteo Group King who do the BBC. I've just looked it up. It's just like they use a combination of different ones. So they use like the American model, for example, the GFS. Which we've discovered, me and learners discovered earlier, we were talking about which one's the most accurate. The ECM, the GFS and the GEM, and we said that the ECM's probably the most accurate, the GEM's the least accurate, and the GFS is kind of in the middle. Typically, that's my experience as well. And we're talking about, obviously, the lying snow, which there's still some over northwest Scotland, but not much elsewhere. Some people have asked for my view on this. Oh god, not the CFS. Let me have a look, actually. I think they've got it on here somewhere. We can look at the UKV. There we go. This is the precipitation for the next... I'll bring up the UKV. The CFS for the winter. Next, can't forecast snow. Or can't forecast cold. This has just been run. This is the 15Z today. As you can see, that wet weather clearing away to the southeast. And there's a few showers into Scotland, as always, on that westerly wind. And then they might turn wintry over the hills through Monday morning. Lots of showers could turn wintry over the hills in Scotland through Monday morning, and quite widespread in Scotland as well. And there's a few patchy, drizzly patches and a few heavy spells through northern England and southwestern Wales as we move through Monday into Tuesday. Again, the showers persist through central and northern England, so it could be a few heavy rains blotches in there, and obviously turning more to snow as the colder air undercuts the mild air and cuts back in from the north. All into Scotland, mind. But a few of them could actually turn wintry over the northern hills. Excuse me. Dear me. Through Tuesday. Winds are into a slack gradient there, so only a few showers turning wintry over the Scottish hills. Not too much showery activity through Tuesday. Wednesday, there's that low pressure actually going a bit further southwards with the UKV, the UK Met, which is high res, so it could be accurate. But it's tracking that low further south, so the far southeast would see the rain with that before it clears away, and then we're into dry pattern again. Little weather front moving up from the south, but that fizzles away very quickly, run into the high, and then a weather, and then the next area of weather fronts moves in on that westerly wind and could produce a little bit of rain. Overall, doesn't look that wet, and it looks quite mild. If we have a look at the upper air temperatures, you'll see that perfectly evidenced. So obviously a little bit cooler through Monday, not particularly though with these upper airs. So they're at 1,500 metres above sea level, but they're -3, -4, so nothing incredible, and it's not going to produce much at the surface. But it could actually be quite cold by day, 5 or 6 degrees. Look at the temps afterwards. But the upper airs don't look great. -5 line to Scotland, so any showers probably will be wintry over the hills and possibly to lower levels at times. Not expecting much activity though. For that retreats away and we go back into a milder air mass. So if we have a look at the surface temperatures, I feel like I'm talking really fast. I need to slow down. So if we look at the max temperatures for today, it's reached 17, 18 in the far southeast. Pretty incredible. Well, it's showing 11 or 12 here, but it's been up to 15 earlier, so Yeah, but most areas, other areas, there's a bit of a contrast between the southeast and other regions. So the north is in 3 or 4 degrees, still quite mild to be fair for the time of year. Scotland 5, 6, 7s. I don't know really. Is it mild? It's kind of around average really. Central areas are about the same, and obviously as you move away from the southeast, it's slightly cooler. Overnight, Sunday to Monday, quite mild temperatures, 9s and 10s, apart from in Scotland could be at the odd frost, but still pretty mild. And going through Monday, not getting much above 10 or 11, they can see a bit of a contrast there, 18 degrees versus 11, as that milder air clears away a little bit. But yeah, 7s, 8s, 9s across the board. Could be a bit more of a frost into, look at Republic of Ireland, lots of frosts over there, and central Scotland, I'm seeing a few frosts there, and then below freezing in the north for many regions, 5, 6, 7s, 8s, and the far southwest where it's the mildest. Typically from the Atlantic, the warm Atlantic is 10, 11, 12. So turning a little bit chillier, not particularly so. Quite a widespread frost into Wednesday, so that's something to watch out for. Maybe a risk of ice if there's any rainfall around. But by day, not great again. 3, 4 degrees, 5 degrees. Pretty below average for the time of year. And Scotland's below average for much of the region, even at day. Look at that. And then Wednesday into Thursday night, widespread frost for many regions. Again, could be another car clearing if you're travelling. And by 3 p.m. on Thursday, not much above 3, 4 or 5 degrees. It's looking quite chilly, to be fair. Again, bit of a frost on Thursday, but it quickly gets cleared away on Friday, and the temperatures still are not where they should be. 4s, 5s, and 6s. Again, southwest, you can see the milder air and the milder temperatures are starting to encroach from the west, with Ireland turning warmer, drier, and milder. But many regions are just beginning to see the the cooler conditions being swept away. Oh. Let's have a look at these chats. Never seen it. I've never seen actually forecast snow every time I've had a major snow event. It's almost like the CFS ever. Did you see the BBC app when it was a tornado in America? They predicted 600 miles an hour winds. Jesus! Swear the BBC forecast on the TV is different to the app version. Yeah, it is. Why is the weather forecast on BBC always different to what they focus on ITV? It's crazy. Different models in it, different data and different people. To be fair, it doesn't really change much to me. Hello, Gav, how you doing? Right, we've run through that. Well, let me have a look if I can pull these up. Right, so we've done that. UK Met. Let's see what they're showing on that. Yeah, we're just talking about the BBC weather and the ITV, how accurate they are. I went to Los Angeles in 1996 and it was around 86 Fahrenheit, and my heat in the UK, so it'd been mild sticky heat. Why is it so different? 86 Fahrenheit, what's that in degrees? It's quite warm, isn't it? Yeah, I'm gonna say it's quite warm, isn't it? I think it's because they're more used to it. But I mean, you're more used to it over there. But I think it's just the air masses in the UK are just a lot more what's the word? Sticky. I don't know. When we get like a warm air mass, it comes from the south or the southeast or the east typically when we get a warmer air mass. 30, yeah, that's pretty warm. Especially in the UK, it feels pretty warm at 30 degrees. I remember when it was 40 degrees, you were forecasting that national emergency. I remember that with the red warnings. Jesus, everyone were panicking in my area. Yeah, humidity. Sorry, that's what it is. Yeah, humidity change. I know I'm too young for that. No. So I'll need to work them out because I've had it on the wrong thing before on some of my forecasts. Had it in degrees and Fahrenheit, got them mixed up. It's showing 86 degrees. That's not right. But yeah, cheers, Martin. It is the humidity does affect that typically. Yeah, Martin is right. Yeah, it is quite warm. So we'll have a look then quickly at the UK Met. So we've got wet weather piling into Scotland overnight, and actually that's currently going on now into Scotland and northwestern parts. Could be quite heavy at times through Sunday into Monday. Again, little showers picking up here and there. Could turn wintry over the far northern hills. Not expecting much though in most regions. Sorry, I'm just looking behind me. A few showers into southwestern Wales and along western coasts, and also into Scotland. Showers could turn wintry with that slack northerly wind for Scotland, and more other regions are kind of like in a slack easterly as the high builds to the west. Very dry day through Tuesday, not too bad, so any plans on Tuesday don't look too bad. Wednesday, low pressure running to the south, southwest, northeast. A little bit further northwards of that, so more of a rain risk in more southern central regions, moving into the southeast, could be quite heavy. And then another dry day through Wednesday. Thursday, a little weather front approaches from the south, but the high pressure quickly dissipates that before it approaches, and then more wet weather piles in through Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But it's not too bad, especially in the east. It's not looking too bad. There we go. All I know is 10 degrees is like 50 Fahrenheit. I think that's about right, yeah. What's my weather thing saying? It's 1,012 HPA, so relatively high pressure, you could say. And winds in from the west-southwest at the moment. It's been saying that for a while, to be fair. And it is accurate. I'll just check my app. It's still dry here as well. And temperature is 10.3 degrees. So, I mean, it feels quite mild out there, to be honest. I have been out there. So have a look at the wind gusts really quickly before we wrap that up. So obviously there's still a couple of gusts for the northwest, 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour possible as that low clears away. And then generally it's quite windy, to be fair, through Monday. Could be a few high, heavy gusts. Through Tuesday, obviously it calms down a little bit. Wednesday, with that little low pressure system, there could be a little bit of high winds, but I mean, like little gusts, but they're not going to be anything extreme. Then more gusty winds approach from the west, so the northwest again, getting the brunt of that one through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then just generally a little bit gusty, really, a little bit gusty for the whole period, if I'm being honest. Let me have a look on here. Right, where's my thing gone? Where's my chart gone? Right, will wetter work now? Because it wasn't working. Yes. Okay, we've got it. Right, we're doing this. Oh, no. Right, we're using... Do you remember the Wolverhampton guy from the other stream? No, I'm sorry. I don't. I don't remember the Wolverhampton guy. I don't know why I'm talking like that. Right, we're running through the CFS. This could be the end. Uh-oh. Look, don't take these literally, we're just having a bit of fun. So we're going to start in December. Slack easterly flow. A lot of the models showing that, especially the ECM's been driving that home recently. We looked at the 6-week ones earlier, and they looked quite mild and for the next couple of weeks, quite high and dry. Oh, there you go, look. From the 5th of December, the Atlantic powers back up, and we're back into the westerlies. Best from the west is back again, with winds from the west looking quite mild. Oh, look at all that cold air, just to the east, look at that. And there you go, look how close everything is. There's a slight block towards Scandinavia, quite weak, well, it's strong enough, but the Atlantic is flying in, and whoosh, in comes the westerlies. There's a nice cold block to the north, and it's not coming. It's all restricted to Scandinavia and Eastern Europe. Of course it is. Again, though, Atlantic reigns supreme. Low pressure's running in. Remember, these change every 6 hours, so don't take these literally at all. Just gives a bit of fun, really, isn't it? Again, just low pressure. Dear me, Christmas Day looks the coldest day. Ooh, could be a white Christmas there, especially in the north. Hello, Big Shane. How you doing? Nice to see you here. You're just running through the CFS. Look at that for Christmas Day. Ooh, cold Christmas Day. Dear me, some of you will be very happy with that. Some of you might not be. Definitely will be frosty. Showers could be wintry in the north and the east with that. Obviously, we're not taking it literally. And then that doesn't last very long before back into the westerlies. Yay! Oh my goodness me. This looks like an absolute Atlantic onslaught and high pressure dominating. This will be a very disappointing winter. Look at the polar vortex powering up and just low pressure, low pressure, low pressure. Obviously, it could be colder in the north at times, but with a bit of snow. But the south and many parts look quite mild. Winds are actually went from the west there on the 10th, but they're actually originating from a kind of Greenland on a westerly, northwesterly. That could be a bit colder there. Could be a bit of snow that actually. I wouldn't be surprised, but the stars have to align. Brief northwesterly, it doesn't last long, and then the Atlantic's back again. Oh, this is looking a little bit interesting into January though. Don't take this literally either. High pressure begins to move to the north. Obviously, we get quite a mild spell there. There's a slack easterly into the south, bringing the -5 line in of some very cold air just to our east, and then the high pressure moves towards Scandinavia, Scandinavian high, and in comes the beast. No, in comes the easterlies, not particularly beastly, but they could be. Obviously, the low pressures are trying to rattle in from off the Atlantic, but there's this block of cold air stopping it in its place, and this high pressure strengthening 1,045 millibars. That take a bit to wedge, and you can see the cold air is starting to filter in. So there we go. Winds are in from the east, and the -10 isotherm makes an entrance. Very cold air for the UK into the south and the east, definitely bringing in some snow showers there. Doesn't last very long before the high topples in. But you could get a transition. Look at the -10 line continues to stay in before you could get like a transition before the milder air returns. And then we're back to the westerlies. Oh my goodness me. Westerlies and southwesterlies. Looks quite high and dry at times as well. So that's not too bad, I guess. Brief northwesterly there. Doesn't last long. Here comes the Atlantic again. Oh my goodness me. No bit of a high pressure tries to get going again towards Scandinavia. Colder air for a time there. Look. Doesn't last. I mean, it actually lasts for a little bit, but it's not on the periphery of it all the time. All this so close though, and then the high pressure does get going towards Scandinavia and towards Greenland. Eventually, get a cold easterly again on the 3rd of March. Look at all that cold air to the north. Wow, -10 line does get in into March when we don't want it, and the winds go back into the east from a very cold source. Oh dearie me. So on that run, brings it in when you don't want it, but obviously it's so far away, it's nothing to worry about. What actually happened if the -20 line came in? I think it did. I think it did actually happen during Beast from the East. Back me up if I'm wrong. I think the -15 line did get into the southeast though, for a very brief time. And I'm not sure about 2010. But I do know, obviously, it did visit from time to time in the olden days, like the 1800s, and maybe even 1924. I'm not very good on my dates, I'll be honest. Wasn't born then, so I don't worry about it. Yeah. What were you saying? You should definitely make an epic live stream where we watch weekly weather updates all together. No. Get Gav on the live stream. Yeah, get me and Gav doing a live stream. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? The laughs and the lols. No. What were we saying as well, learners? Imagine the -30 line came in. Well, I think we'd be in the freeze. I don't know how we'd prepare for that. We'd be evacuating the country, and we'd all be with a foot of snow probably, and everyone would be watching out the window all the time, trapped in, and everyone would be at home. Unless some sort of provisions were put in place. Obviously, with work from home, stuff like that becoming more prominent. Maybe it won't be an issue. Yeah, finish my cup of tea. But yeah, that's that one then. So, what do we think? Let me have a look if I can have a look in the archive. Never look at this, so we'll have a look. Oh, goodness me, there's that mild winter. Oh, dear. Why has it come up with that? Why is that winter come up? Oh, my word, that was almost winter to remember. But it didn't happen, did it? Can I move back a day? It's not letting me. There we go. There's the mild winter. That is not what you want, by the way. High pressure powering to the east. This is 2015. This is what you don't want. A very, and I mean a very strong polar vortex. Low pressure to the west, high pressure to the east, and winds up from a very mild direction. If this was the summer, it would be cooking. Look, meh. It was a notable warm winter. Look at them. 5 and 10 degree ice films constantly in. Even Christmas was mild. Oh dear. Look, that is not what you want. Bill, do you remember the beach from the Instagram was frozen for 2 months? Nightmare. Was it really? Wow. Well, it depends where you were, doesn't it? Hoping my care is here in 10 minutes due at 9 p.m. Probably will be. Definitely should do a epic weekly weather update live reaction. Oh my word. That would be something, wouldn't it? Look, I'm not saying anything. I am not doing that though. I do watch his content from time to time. He's okay and he's pretty good, I'd say. To be honest, I like to remain unbiased as possible, but to be fair, in my opinion, there's not really any bad forecasters. Everyone just kind of gets on with their thing, don't they? And it's pretty good. I talk to a lot of weather YouTubers and weather creators and get on fine. You know what I mean? I look at a lot of charts. I look at different things, and I sometimes get stuff from other people. But that's that, isn't it? Really. Let me see if I can see the... Oh, this is the controversy here. Global radiation. Global radiation, and you can see lots of high numbers in there. We don't want to look at that then, do we? Is there any lightning? No. No lightning. There's that heavy rain. I don't know if you can see it on that chart. It's very small. Heavy rain to the southeast there and the eastern parts there. Moving through, it's going to continue to produce rain before it moves away to the east overnight. And there's a few showers into Scotland, as you'd expect. Nothing much to say there. What were we discussing? Boxing match? No boxing match. Dear me. Weekly weather updates versus... Not necessarily. Well, depends on depends on the muscle. What has this turned into? I agree, Danny. I mean, where are you from? If you don't mind asking, I'm from Kingston Hollow, but was born in Fulford near to York. I'm pretty sure that someone in this chat can guess where I'm from because I'm pretty sure I've said it before. I've had guesses from someone who said London. I mean, how do I sound like I'm from London? Just come on, man. That would not make sense. Some people have said Sheffield. Some people have said Wales. Definitely not. I mean, Wales. Where? How do I sound like I'm from Wales? And then obviously some people got quite close. So there you go. New weekly weather updates internet, so it becomes more. Nah, that's mean. Nah, it's all right. There's no wrong with him. There's nothing wrong with him at all. He does better thumbnails than me. I can tell you that definitely gets you watching, doesn't it? There you go. Well, radar. What is going on with this website today? Honestly, it's not working. It's not working at all, and I'm not happy about it. Where's the thing that I used to pull up? I have no idea. I can't find it anymore. I've got it somewhere. 1 minute. Let me see if I can find it. This is the last thing, because obviously I'm just kind of blabbing now. It's not on here. Ugh. Where's my bookmark? Oh, dearie me. I can't find it. Joe, yes, I hope you are joking. I hope you are joking. Not nuking someone's internet. That's just mean. Rain's not stopped all day here. To be fair, it stopped around midday. Started a little bit this afternoon, Gav, and that's all to say, really. Wasn't the worst. Wasn't particularly that heavy. But it's been very drab. But I must say I enjoyed the cold last week. That was quite fun and quite a shock to the system. I might have mentioned all that before, and I am rambling on a little bit. Just like talking about the weather, don't I? There'll be a longer range forecast coming up either today or tomorrow. I'm not going to make any promises. So it'll either be 10 tonight or 8 tomorrow, 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. I'll put a post about it. I think I put a post about it. I'm not sure how many people check them. Ready for some warmth now? I had enough of the cold. To be fair, Dan, if I am as well. It's nice to see. Um, it's nice to see the cold. I mean, I'm pretty cold. I wouldn't expect it to be -5 in the morning. You know, but I think it's quite rare. It's quite rare for that to happen, isn't it? Let's be honest. It does happen, especially in Scotland, obviously, but 2020, 2021's a prime example of that, but it's quite rare, especially in November. But yeah, I agree. Warm spell and then bit cooler next week, and then warm again, and then cooler again. So oscillating between milder and cooler, but overall it looks kind of around average or slightly above average for the rest of the month. Anyway, yeah, but like I said, I'm staying completely unbiased towards people. Weekly weather updates to me is okay. Most weather creators are fine, in my opinion. Um, yeah, imagine if he didn't. I think he'd probably be all right. He'd probably be fine. Don't talk about weekly weather updates all the time. It's fine. It's fine. I mean, he does. It gets people watching, doesn't it? It works. It works for him, doesn't it? I do my thing. He does this thing. I just say it as it is. If it's rubbish, it's rubbish, isn't it? But at the end of the day, that's it, innit? Everyone can have their own opinion, and I'm here to say it unbiased. So that's that. I agree. I hate the cold. I like seeing the cold from time to time, but it is nice to get it warm up. I agree. And snow, but snow's just my favourite thing. Yeah, he's all right, isn't he? He's all right, definitely. Yeah, that's it, really, isn't it? Have a look at the CFS 6Z because that one's fully out. So we'll see if that's any different to the 12Z. Probably be mild, wet, and windy again. Yep. Brief northerlies, very wet and windy. Bit of high pressure there. Looks quite mild through December. While Wesley's, oh my goodness, Christmas Day. Wesley's, yay, and looks quite mild as well. And very unsettled. Oh dearie me, this will be a write-off. Bit of high pressure again. Doesn't get very far. And Wesley's, oh my goodness me. Wow, high pressure, high pressure, high pressure. Very dry there. For January, CFS has been focusing this all the time. Wesley's and South Wesley's. And then more wet and windy weather moving in. Oh my word, it just goes on and on and on. Oh my goodness me. Bit of a high pressure towards Scandinavia. There you go. Bit of a cold snap there. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. Very at the end. Wow, look at all that cold into Western Europe, and it misses us. Eventually gets in. Takes its time though. The -10 line gets into the country, so that'd be an interesting February time. Don't last long though. Throw back into milder weather. Look at all these air masses. Brief colder snaps, but don't last long. There's the -10 line again. That'd be interesting. Another Scandinavian high. To begin March. Wow. Then middle of March, brilliant. And then that's the end of that. Wow, so that one would be a very drab winter, wouldn't it? Look, I mean, if you like the mild, can't forecast slush. Yes, we'd never guess that you'd love being on Snapchat. Couldn't you tell, Danny? Couldn't you tell? That's all I do. That's all I talk about. What do you mean? Yeah, the CFS has got kind of a culture within Gav's channel. Can't forecast snow every single time, and if it does, the next day it breaks. Honestly, it can't handle forecasting cold and snow. Every time it breaks down for a week, it just cannot handle it. I swear. I remember one time it was going to be quite cold. Was it 2023 or 2022? And then it breaks. It shuts down. We can't be having that on our forecast. We cannot be having cold temperatures predicted on our forecast. Mild. That's enough of my CFS rant. It's okay. I like looking at it. It's experimental, isn't it? It's not to be taken seriously. It's a lot of fun though to have a look at and see if there's any trends within its runs. They've been showing many different things. I've been watching. I'm sure, as I'm sure a lot of you have, Gav's winter or Christmas updates, and they've been mild for Christmas Day, but around January they've been going for a consistent signal of high pressure moving towards Scandinavia and trying to bring a Scandinavian high and winds from the east on a lot of the runs. To be fair, I've seen anyway, but that's just the weather will do what the weather will do. Why is it the US gets so much more extremes compared to us? They've just got a much more volatile air masses. It can be so just change so quickly is the right way of putting it. Obviously, we have the jet stream, which runs obviously across the Atlantic, and that is basically the main driver of our weather. If it goes to the south, there's a chance you're on the cold side of a jet, so you can get colder influences, like low pressure systems can bring colder influences from the northwest, and obviously you've got higher chance of blocking to the north. And then you can actually, if you get low pressures running southwards through winter months, then obviously you can have the chance of snow events and things like that. America does have that, of course, but it's there's more drivers, and obviously their weather can be so like I said, hectic. One day it can be like 20 degrees or whatever, and the next day it can be 0. It's one of them, really. It does vary from day to day. If you've ever looked at American forecast, imagine if we get a snowstorm like theirs with like 3 foot of dry snow. I know, and we get wet, slushy snow, but it's just because it's always so marginal here in the UK. But what I'm telling you now, one of these years we'll be put in the freezer. Sorry for late to join what has been covered so far. Bowling thunderstorm. We've just kind of gone through the CFS, the Can't Forecast Snow Run, and thanks for joining, by the way. We've had a look at the this ECM long range forecast, and that was very mild. And we also had a look at the GFS, the GM, and mild, but just mild. The ensembles still won't load for me. They still, oh god, not that, learners, no. That was brief. Okay, I'm not covering that again. Yeah, we just the ensemble, which will not load on my end for some reason, so apologies about that. Obviously all the runs combined together were kind of above average for a lot of the time, below average, above average, below average next week, which we had to look at the upper S, and they could be quite cold, to be fair, for the time of year. Then rising above average next weekend, and then hovering just around slightly above average with a lot of scatter. So there's a lot of runs going down to like -5, a lot of runs going to +5. So I've got to work out what the pattern is. Hoping for more snow so I can go on more long walks. Ended up doing 10 miles Tuesday snow event. Well, I mean, gets you out walking, doesn't it? Fitness. Got to think about your fitness. Think about your figure. I need to, right, man? That's what I need to do. Gav said, you have a contrast of air masses from Canada to the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, exactly. And where them air masses are positioned can be so volatile. It's just one of them things. I mean, it must be great to forecast in America sometimes. I mean, like, it's just so changeable. Like, I've actually never looked, and I'm wrong for this, I've never properly looked at an American forecast. So obviously the high pressure in America is to the south. So much of southern America, southern of North America is mild, and I don't know my states, but hey, maybe I'll branch out to do American forecasts as well at some point. There's that Ryan Hall, I think, who's big over there, isn't he, with his American forecast. So there you'd expect the cold air into Alaska there, as usual. I think that's always quite a cold region. You can see the contrast. Look at the contrast. Look at these upper air temperatures here. There's the 15-degree isotherm for southern parts of America. I think that's the right way around. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm right. Honestly, I'm so bad at this. And then there's the -15, -20 in Alaska, which is going to be producing copious amounts of snow even at this time of year. But you can just see the complete contrast between air masses and how volatile it can be on them boundary lines. It's pretty incredible. That's it, yeah, Ryan Hall, y'all. Will there likely be thunderstorms in LA in February? You should search stuff if you haven't seen. Yeah, remember that time Texas got extreme cold, colder than anything we get. I've seen it in like New York, and I've seen the White House, the infamous White House video where it was snowed under. That was quite funny, actually. I do not remember what year that was from. Let's have a quick look then. So obviously, it's so volatile that one day it can just be like 20 degrees, and the next day it's like 0. Obviously in Fahrenheit over there, don't attack me. But look how quick the air mass has changed. Look at that. So they had in this area here, no idea what state that is, but just look in this area here, and then if we move along, why is it not? Oh, move along. So where my mouse cursor is there, and look, it was in the 0, went into the 5, and then into the 0 degree line. -5, -10, and then back to 0, and then -15, -20. It's just so different. And then look at that. You can just see how big their air masses are as well. So there's the high pressure moving to the west of America. So obviously all these regions are going to be milder than average, and the low pressures to the east. And then you get a very cold northerly from Canada, bringing down some very cold Arctic air for many parts of Eastern North America, but I'm not going to go into detail about that because I am useless with America. And I thought for 18th to see my family. Should be alright. You'll be alright. LA tends to be wetter in winter than when there's an El Nino. It's usually dry with La Nina like we have now. That's what I was trying. That's what I was tending to think. Yeah, La Nina. It's not a very strong La Nina, is it? It's quite on the borderline, isn't it? With it happening. It's quite on the borderline. Really. Yeah. It's one of them. Very weak La Nina, yeah. It's yeah. One of them things, isn't it, really? That could be down to a lot of things, but I don't think I've seen it's usually to me anyway. I think 2023 was different. Like 2023, forget the years. 2023 was the very strong El Nino. I mean, the whole bloody world was above average sea surface temperatures, and then there was La Nina for a few years, and then it just kind of oscillates. But this year is a very weak La Nina, like Gav said. But yeah, nice and dry. Probably is likely, to be fair, bowling for Thunderstorm, especially looking at this. It shouldn't be too bad, I'd assume. Obviously, there's these, which I assume are little troughs of low pressure, which obviously could be quite volatile, where they are found and stuff like that. If we look quite close to the time, there's just low pressures everywhere, isn't there? These could be quite volatile at times. Though, obviously, American forecasts can pinpoint them much better than me. Just looking at a general thingy. One thing I noticed: 2010 mega snow, 18 crazy snow, and now I had snow in November. Guess what? 7 years in between each event and year. I was gonna say, what am I reading? 3017. 2010 was a lot of snow, wasn't there? Yeah. Try searching deep freeze Texas if you want to. Millions went without power. Did they actually? Wow. I mean, their deep freeze will be much more extreme than our typical deep freeze, unless you're looking in the 1800s or in the archives. But you know, yeah, 20. There could be something in that, to be fair. Bowling Thunderstorm. We obviously had the beast from the east. And that one had snow in November. Yeah. Going to get you get your 6 a.m. forecast done, Gav. I'm sure I'll be watching. I always do. Yeah, that done. I think it was all La Nina years, 2010, 2017, 18, and 20. Yeah, well, maybe there's something in that. Well, maybe you've done your own investigation there, Bowling Thunderstorm, and maybe this year we will see a colder spell. Who knows? But that's obviously all speculation. It could be. I mean, let's see. Let's see if it happens. Stop scratching my head. Sounds like I just to check. We went in June of '96 for a special one-off holiday. Well, I bet they were quite nice actually. 2010 was La Nina. Yeah, 1 minute. Let me just do this detective research. Let me just do that. Just make sure I don't show anything bad. Let me do that. La Nina. Uh, 2008 to 2009 and 2010 to 2011. Yes. 2010 to 2011. Yeah, yeah. So they both were La Nina. Yeah, and 2016 and 17. Exactly. There you go. So, that's that. Let me just go back on that. What am I doing? There we go. Could be. Yeah, could be onto something there. So yes, you were right. Well, you know more than me. No. Yeah, you do, but I'm learning. 1960. Bloody hell, getting me to search up these years. All right. I've a video in that Texas cold snap. And this person left their car under a leak in a parking lot, and his car was literally just frozen. Dear me. 1963 was La Nina, I reckon. If I was to guess. Oh. No, it was not. 1950, 1954 to 56, 62, 64, 66, 67 to 68. No. 63 was not. Let me put the screen back on. There we go. Bang. And the huge snow event. No, that was not a La Nina though. The 1962 and 1964 were. But 1963 was not. Can I get up 2018? I want to try and find it. 2018. Oh, I can change the date. So I want the 22nd of Feb 2018. Let's have a look. At 2018. Oh my word, there. I might have to zoom this in. Alright, so this is when the beast occurred. The beast from the east. And I was not into forecasting at this point, so I've not actually looked at these charts before, so I don't actually know what beast from the east was like. So on the 22nd of Feb, we've got high pressure over and just to the north of the country. Winds are in from a very slack easterly. You can see the very cold air is just to sort of Scandinavia and western Russia. You can see look at the cold air in Russia there. Wow. I'm just looking at this because I hadn't actually looked at it before. Now, by the 23rd, the high pressure is kind of sitting around the country and bringing a slack easterly. And the temperatures aren't too particularly cold at that point. And then the high pressure zooms towards... oh my goodness me, I've never seen that before. High pressure zooms towards the north of Scandinavia. And as you can see, winds are starting to move from the east. They're very cold easterly. You can just see all the cold air. Look at that. Wow, wow, wow. Not seen that before. The minus 15 and the minus 20 isotherms are very close by. And then all of a sudden, I assume that the beast is going to be unleashed. Well, not quite. High pressure still set over the country, and the winds are in from the east still, and all the cold air is trickling from Russia. And I have not seen anything like that in my life. What is that? Minus 15 isotherm. You can see the minus 5's just getting in. Us right on the edge. Could have had the cold for a lot longer than with this. And then minus 26. There you go. The beastly easterlies are unleashed. Now that is a proper block. That takes a long time to get rid of that, I'd assume. Winds in from the east. And wow. Minus 10 line covering much of the country besides Scotland. Quite surprisingly. That would definitely bring in snow showers, probably. And I remember it well, quite, to be honest. High pressure translates towards, it's just a proper block, and low pressure is just running in from the east. That is a bitterly cold chart, and obviously prolonged as well. Look at the minus 10, the minus 15 isotherm. Daytime temps were not above freezing at this point. Look at the trough there, that's bringing plenty of snow. There was a yellow and amber warning for snow, and then there's a low pressure on Thursday the 1st, which was bringing snow to the south and southwest. And wow, that was just crazy, wasn't it? Well, look at all the block. It's so rare to get that these days. And then the block eventually moves away, and then I think it gets colder again towards mid-month. And then westerly again. Look at that. But it's not. Then again, another block gets going, and another cold easterly comes in at the 17th, 18th. Look at that. Minus 10 line back in. You can get repeated patterns in these cold winters of stuff. I think it could be a pattern, but 962 was a blip. I need another beast. Well, La Nina must induce loads of... Yeah, I reckon it could. Yeah, it probably is a thing, actually, because 2023 was not particularly cold. I think one of the mildest on record or something. In some months, anyway. Was it February? I cannot remember for the life of me. But January had a bit of a cold spell with some snow, and then March was pretty cold from what I remember, and had a bit of snow as well. I just wanted to look at that, to be fair, though. I hadn't really looked at the beast before. So I thought that might be a bit of interest to you in case you haven't seen it before. I hadn't. But there you go. As well, we just could be a clue. Imagine the chaos if that happened. Oh my word! I've never seen a chart though where the height zooms off in one day. Just to the north. Wow. Apparently, some people said that it was to do with November as well in that month. I am not saying anything. I am not saying anything. But in November was quite cold as well and was blocking. There you go. The blocking to the north and the low pressures zooming in. And there's some colder air again. There you go. Well, that was -5 line, and then zoom in comes the -5. So maybe. There you go, look. Block to the north. Maybe this could be something, because it looks very similar to this. And down comes the northerly. It looks very similar to that on the charts we've just had. Look at that block. Looks very similar. Ooh, be some East version 2. Some people would love it, and some people would hate it, and some people would not care. I certainly would. You'd be getting lots of videos from that, and hopefully we'd be getting a few views from that as well. But yeah, I'm waffling on now. But cheers all for watching. I know I've gone on a bit on a tangent. The video won't be out today. It'll be out tomorrow. But I hope you all enjoyed this stream. Hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. If we're on something, I think we've found it now. Yeah, exactly. Everyone else will be forecasting mild, and we'll be going for extremely cold, and we'll all have to stick inside under a blanket. Now, there you go, though. Must be too. Yeah, I think there is a higher chance, a tendency for that. But yeah, I'm sure when I see everyone else's forecast, when I see Mark Rogan's, I haven't watched his stream yet. I know I said I would, but I didn't. I did not. I tried to get all the charts up for this stream. Though yeah, if everyone else be forecasting these mildest winter on record, and I'm going to be forecasting coldest winter on record. No. What do I think from the winter? Well, you'll have to wait and see from my forecast. Was it a similar day? Well, this was the 27th of November, so a little bit later. Should we have a look very quickly and see if there was any years where so what date was it? What's happened to the charts that are zoomed in now? So that was there. So if we go, when was it? So it's the 24th now. So if we go for the, I don't know, the 21st. It was around the similar time, to be fair. So if we go 21st, when was the last time we had a cold snap? What has happened to the charts? Have zoomed in. Oh well. No, not month. Year. So if we go to 2018, 2017, hold on. Well, there's a block there, which is very weak in that 2017, 2018, around the 21st. Was that any different before then? Yeah. Very close, actually. Quite close to a block, but not quite. But there was some sort of block in there. It did bring a little bit of cold air around the time when we got the cold spell look. Well, not particularly, to be honest. It wasn't a notable spell. But after that, look, then the colder air returns. So 24th, pretty similar to the 20th to today. I have to do some learning. Yeah. No, you don't. Let me have a look. Like, go back a year, 2016. Again, to be fair, that looks very similar. It wasn't very cold that year, but the pattern looks quite similar with this high pressure to in the Atlantic. But 2016, 2017 was not a notable year for any cold. Let's have a look at any trends. No, I don't think there is. But just wasn't particularly cold, was it, that year? No, the Atlantic. And where's the chart gone? 2015. Now that is what you call very similar to what you had now. But 2015, 2016 was the notoriously mild winter. But that is a proper northerly. There. -5 lining. But that is quite a cold one. Yeah. So, there you go. That one. There we go. I'm not going any further back. But if that came up, it does not look great. Whoops. What have I just done? I don't know. Well, I'm ending my stream there. I need to stop waffling, but it is interesting, yeah. It is very interesting. Cheers off watching and sticking with my waffle. I'm sorry it's gone on for so long, but I get distracted from other things. Rickroll, what? Rickroll? What? Oh, I don't know. Right, yeah, cheers off watching. Like and subscribe. Don't know where the Rick rolls come from. I shouldn't have played for very long anyway. Cheers off watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.